Hey, Pink Sox Nation, Coach Charles here on a still kind of rainy Thursday morning. Sorry we didn't get to have our game on last Saturday or our practice. The rain's been a little crazy. Hopefully it holds off enough for us to have an actual game this coming Saturday. We're playing at 2 o'clock in Gaithersburg against the team from Damascus that's coming down. So I have no idea what they're like. Haven't talked to their coach at all, so it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun experience for everybody. So hope to see you there. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to talk about something that I want to talk about in practice on Tuesday, but obviously we didn't have it because of the rain. And two quick topics that are kind of related. One of them has to do with base running, which is super important, and it's what to do about the concept of tagging up. Tagging up's kind of tough to do. I was hoping to be able to do this in person, but I don't know if you can see right here, I have a base set up, okay? Basically what tagging up is if the ball is hit in the air and a fielder catches it while it's in the air before it's hit the ground, even if they're in foul territory, even if they're way off the line or goes behind home plate or whatever, as long as it hasn't hit anything and it stays in the air, if it's caught, then the hitter is automatically out. Okay, so if you see a ball in the air, definitely try and go for it because it's an out, even if it's in foul territory. It doesn't matter. Now, if the ball is hit on the ground, you've got to field it and you've got to make a play, either tag a runner out or throw the ball to a base. But if it's in the air and it's caught, it's an automatic out. Even if you're a runner who runs really fast and you run all the way to first base and that ball is still in the air and then gets caught, you're still out. That's just the way it goes. But what we're going to talk about here is the concept of tagging up, because you have to know how to run if you're on base in a situation like that. Normally, if, like, say you're on first base, right? You're standing on first base and the ball is hit on the ground, your runner is coming towards you from home plate, so you're going to take off and you're going to run to second base. You have no choice. If the ball is hit in the air, wait a second to see if it's going to be caught or not. Because if you run to second base and then that ball is caught, all they have to do is come back and tag first base. It becomes a forced play because you're off the bag. The only way to advance to the next bag if a ball's been caught in the air is, hopefully you can see my feet. All right, I'm on the base. I look over to see if it's caught. I come a little bit off the base, so I'm ready to go in case it's not caught. If it's caught, go back to your bag. Then you might hear Coach John or myself say, now go. Then you can take off for the next bag. Then it has to be a tag play or whatever it is. The point is you have to touch the bag again before you run to the next bag if it's a pop fly, if it's a fly ball, something caught in the air. If you just take off and run, then they can get you if the ball is caught, and it's an easy way to make a double play. The only time we say run no matter what is if there are two outs. Because if there are two outs, worst case scenario, the fielder in the outfield or the infield, wherever the ball is popped up, they catch the ball, that's the third out. The inning's over anyway. You don't matter. They're not going to try and get you because they've already gotten all the outs they need for the inning. But what you want to do is you're on the base, you see the batter in the box, the ball gets hit, come off the base a little bit, wait to see if it's going to drop or not, and then you either run for it or you come back, tag the base, and then run. You can't take off from the base until the ball is actually caught. So you've got to wait. If you watch a regular baseball game or softball game on TV, you'll see that happen a lot. The ball goes in the air, they'll come off the bag a little bit, and then they'll go, tag the base, wait for it to be caught, and then they'll run to the next base. That's important because you don't want to give them any extra outs. You don't want to see the ball get popped up and then you're running all the way around to third and then the ball is caught and all you have to do is tag the base and you're gone too. The only exception to this is if they do the infield fly rule. The infield fly rule was created so that a fielder couldn't do something kind of sketchy, all right? So like let's say you've got a runner on first base and second base, right? And the ball is popped up on the infield to the third baseman, all right? Now the first and second baseman in this situation, it would be a forced play if it was on the grounds because You have a fielder, you have a hitter coming from home plate to first, which is pushing that runner to second, which is pushing the second base runner to third. That's what would normally happen on a ground ball. You just take off running. But on a pop fly, you're waiting to see if it's going to be caught in the air. You don't want to be caught off your base because then you could be tagged out or forced out. The infield fly rule happens so that if the umpire says, hey, infield fly is in effect, that means that even if the ball is dropped, it's not going to be a penalty on you, because what they don't want to have happen is a pop fly come to third base and the third baseman, stand there looking like they're going to get it and then step away and be like, oops, I missed the ball, and then easily pick it up and step on third base to get the out because nobody was running. It would be an unfair advantage to the fielder. So that's why the infield fly rule basically is everyone just stay where you are, and that's the way it's going to be. Just don't you can't take off on this. If the ball is legitimately dropped, in some leagues they'll automatically give you the base because that's just the way it is. We don't know yet what rules we're playing with. It's a kind of gray area, so this is just something to pay. It doesn't come up very often, especially at the level that we're playing at. Most of the balls you see will be hit on the ground, but I just want you to be prepared for a ball that's hit in the air so that you don't just go taking off running if there's less than 2 outs. Like I said, if there are 2 outs and you see that ball hit, just go. Just because there's nothing, you're not going to get doubled up, because if they catch the ball, it's the end of the inning. All right? The important thing to take away from this is you're on the base, you may be leading off a little bit, the ball gets hit, you wait to see if it's in the air, you wait to see if it's caught. If it's caught, you come back to the base, and if Coach John or I tell you that it's good to go, if we think it's hit deep enough or far enough away that you're fast enough to make it to the next base, we'll tell you go. All right? If not, we'll tell you stay. Then just stay put, and you're right there. Now, this is going to lead into the other important thing, and that's, let me adjust my camera a little bit, and that's something we've talked about before in terms of hitting the cutoff man. You want to get that ball into the infield as quickly as possible if you're in the outfield. All right? So outfielders, I'm going to play you a little bit deeper. It's a lot easier to, if you're playing a little bit deeper and the ball is hit a little bit shallower, it's easier to come in on the ball than it is to be playing shallow and then have the ball go over your head, have to run back with your back to the field, not being able to see what's happening on the field, then pick up the ball, then throw it in. It's a lot easier to come in than to go out. All right? Sometimes a ball is hit so far back that it's too much for an outfielder to throw it all the way in. A play is officially declared dead in our league when the pitcher has the ball in the pitcher's circle. So you've got to remember who's pitching and try to get the ball to that pitcher as quickly as you can if you don't have any plays anywhere else, if there's no plays you can make on the base. Because if you're standing there in left field and just holding the ball up like this, they're still allowed to run if there are any runners on base. If you're standing at shortstop and you're holding the ball up, they're still going to be allowed to run. You have to give the ball back to the pitcher. That's when the umpire says, okay, no more movement, nobody else runs. Next batter, come to the plate. So you want to try and get the ball to the pitcher. When you're in the outfield, that can get kind of tough because it's a far distance depending on how far the ball is hit. And that's where we talk about the cutoff man. All right? If you're in right field, your cutoff man is second base. The cutoff man is exactly what it sounds like. That's the person that's there. In this case, for you ladies, the cutoff woman. In this case, it's there to kind of make it easier. Instead of having right field have to throw all the way this distance to the pitcher, the right fielder will throw to the second base, and second base will throw it into the pitcher. Think of it like if you've ever watched a race on TV, like in the Olympics, and they have those batons that do a relay throw, they do a relay pass. It's the same thing like that. Right field throws to second, second catches, throws it into the pitcher, and that's it. Sometimes you may see a play you may see a runner going home. You want to try and get that runner out. That's great. Throw it to the second baseman, Second base throws it into the catcher, tries to get that runner out. If you're in left field, your cutoff is shortstop. Okay? So if you're in left field, know who your shortstop is. Always know who your pitcher is. Right field, know who your second baseman is. Always know who your pitcher is. Now, if you're in center field, it's whoever's available. All right? It's either going to be shortstop or second base. Don't be afraid to communicate with your team. Don't be afraid, like, if, like, say Fiona's playing right field and, Vanessa's at second base. Vanessa, don't be afraid to be, Fiona, I'm here. So she knows that's, that you're the target that she wants to throw to, so that you can throw. And don't be afraid to get your pitcher's attention if to make sure your pitcher's aware. Like, if Victoria's on the mound, be like, hey, Victoria, coming your way. Communicate with one another out there. It's okay. You can do that, to make sure that everybody's on the same page. That's why it's important when you're on base and doing the tag up, like I just mentioned. If you're here at first base and the ball is hit right here to right field and it's a pop fly, if you go back to first base, chances are we're not going to send you over to second base, because the right fielder's pretty close and has a good chance of getting you out if you try to run there. Even though it's a tag play at that point, there's a pretty good chance. Now, if you're at second base and the right fielder gets the ball and you're going to try to go to third base, we're probably going to send you, because they'd have to throw it all the way over here to try and get you. That's where a cutoff person's important, because you can throw it from right field to second base to third base instead of trying to make that full distance. But you see how the two ideas are linked together, one on the defensive side and one on the base running offensive side. It's something that's a little bit tricky. It's something that takes a little bit getting used to. I wish we had had a chance to really demonstrate it at practice. I was going to do it with you girls at practice and have you on base, have someone throw the ball up in the air and, either drop it or catch it, just to get you used to the motion. Again, it does not come up a whole lot. Most of the balls that we see hit tend to be on the ground. They don't tend to be high pop flies, but it does happen, all right? So you want to make sure that you're aware of that. You want to make sure that when you're on base, you're aware of where the ball is hit, that you don't just take off. Listen for us. We'll tell you if the ball's hit in the air and you have to come back to your base. Coach John is going to be at first base, at third base probably. I'm going to be at first base. We'll tell you, once you get back to the bag, go. If you're on first base, you'll be my responsibility. Once you get to second base, look to Coach John at third. And third base, look, obviously Coach John's right there. He'll be the one to tell you. Once you get to me, I'm the one who's either going to tell you to stop at first or to keep going to second, or I'm going to be the one to tell you to take off from first to second. After that, Coach John is going to be there at third base to give you the signs to come from second to third or go from third to home. We do that so that you're, have a little bit more awareness, because it is hard when everything is going on. You want to be paying attention. It's hard to, run around with your head twisted all over the place. All right. So just listen to us and we'll get you through it. Hopefully we get to play a game on Saturday. I know next week is also looking like some rain for our Tuesday practice. Don't know, the forecast changes every day. Hopefully we get the game in and we get practice in. In the meantime, if you have any questions about any of this stuff, your parents know how to get me. They know how to email, text, or whatever they need to do to get in touch with me. I will gladly answer whatever questions. I know this particular topic of tagging up can be a little bit tough to understand. It's one of those things that, like all of our skills, they get better the more we actually physically do them. But hopefully this video opened your eyes a little bit to the concept and gives you a little bit of familiarity with it. And even more, hopefully, we'll see you on Saturday for our game against Damascus. All right? If not, stay safe out there, be well, and hope to see you girls Saturday. Let's go Pink Sox.